Hey, good Monday afternoon. Chief Meteorologist Nick Jansen. We have a live update here on our YouTube page. We are going to discuss maybe that threat of some strong to severe thunderstorms throughout Monday afternoon and getting into Monday evening. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you do like some of these long forum forecast discussions here. So taping this at 2:15 in the afternoon on Monday. And some of the graphics here provided by the National Weather Service. Some of our area upgraded to a level 3 risk of severe weather, so that enhanced risk. And really what we want to focus on are the main threats into the afternoon here. And notice a tornado or two will be possible, and we'll kind of talk about how we could be looking at maybe the potential of a tornado watch. Maybe by the time that you're watching this video, the Storm Prediction Center and National Weather Service have already issued the tornado watch for some of the areas that we'll kind of focus on here through this forecast discussion. So a level 3 out of 5 for those areas in orange here. We have that slight risk of severe weather for areas in yellow. That does include through Rochester, but really looking at probably the southeastern half of the KTTC viewing area, and then really out in Wisconsin for that best threat of some pretty strong thunderstorms. Hail-wise, looking at kind of that level 2 risk. We could see anywhere from a quarter to maybe up to around golf ball sized hail, I think, in some locations. I don't think hail is the primary threat in terms of our hazards this afternoon. Really looking at more of a wind threat. Once the storms congeal into a line, they will start as some discrete individual supercells. That's when we'll have that tornado threat. And then eventually they'll form more of a line here as they push down to the east-southeast, and that'll be when we have the wind threat. So looking at anywhere from maybe 50 to even maybe close to 70 miles per hour for some of those wind gusts. Once we have that line of thunderstorms that'll form probably down to the southeast of, say, I-90. In terms of the tornado threat, this was upgraded from the Storm Prediction Center with their update around noon. The biggest update was the 10% here, so that is more or less that level 3 threat for tornadoes. And there's a lot of wind shear in the atmosphere, so any of these discrete supercells that do end up forming in this vicinity here, and then as they push to the east-southeast, they will tap into this environment that has a lot of wind shear. And if they hold together, and again, if they're discrete enough, meaning they're not forming into a line, they could tap into that wind shear and definitely form anywhere from an EF0 to maybe an EF2, definitely possible. So here's the latest from the Storm Prediction Center. This was their latest mesoscale discussion that came out just after 2 p.m. A tornado watch, 95% probability. So again, if you're watching this closer towards about 3:30, even 5 o'clock tonight, more than likely there would already be a watch issued. So these are kind of the highlighted areas. Really, Highway 52 and east would be those highlighted areas of where I think we could tap into the most shear. Again, that's your wind change in direction with height. And again, we need that for rotating supercells, and those will be the areas that we'll have it at. In terms of our CAPE, your storm energy, notice we're pretty much off the chart here for a lot of locations. So anything in yellow or getting towards the white, that is sufficient for thunderstorm development. As the cold front moves through, close to around about 7 o'clock tonight is when we'll start to wrap up, I think, most of the chances. So probably latest that we'll see is probably 8 to 9 o'clock for some of those thunderstorms, maybe in this vicinity, stretching from Charles City to Cora near about Prairie du Chien. But most of this activity will be during the early evening hours. Our supercell potential is fairly high, so even at taping this at 2 p.m., notice models indicating, again, we're close to the highest range here in terms of your supercell potential, and it really starts to get off the charts as we move closer towards about that 7 o'clock hour tonight. That's Decorah and down to the southeast there, and then we're quiet overnight tonight. Our tornado potential, our SIGTOR, pretty decent in some locations, at least with the latest HER guidance, the HRRR, so that's a high-resolution model. Again, maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon, just depending on if we can have that cold front move in and have the forcing. The potential is there, but again, the highest potential for tornadic activity is probably I'll redraw that, a little farther down to the south and southeast of, say, I-90. So that's why I said I think the best potential for tornadic activity is probably southeast of I-90. I'll look at future track here, doing a better job. We do have some thunderstorms that are currently developing here, so this is a brand new model run, so we'll walk through it together here. Moving into the afternoon hours, this is at 4:30. Notice a couple of these discrete cells start to form right near I-90. So by about maybe 4 to 5 o'clock, that's when we'll be concerned with that threat of some strong to severe thunderstorms. They start to form more of a line by about 6:30, and that would be our wind threat then as it moves out of the region. So our timing-wise, really from about maybe 3:30 until about 7 o'clock this evening for that threat of those strong to severe thunderstorms. As a whole here, back behind the system, we have some cooler weather on the way. High temperatures into the upper 70s Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we're back to the 80s by Saturday and again on Sunday. So to wrap things up, be weather aware 3:30 until about 7 o'clock tonight, so about a 3 to 4.5 hour window for strong to severe thunderstorms. Tornadoes will definitely be possible for those areas, probably southeast of, say, I-90 tonight, and be on the lookout for a tornado watch that should be issued by the National Weather Service and Storm Prediction Center for this evening. Remember, if you like this type of content and you want to stay ahead of the weather with the first alert, you can hit that like and subscribe button. Have a good night.